Hello, I'm Professor Francis, and I'm here to do the HESI practice problem that we have in front of us. Okay, so let us begin. This is for the HESI math. Okay, so the question states, this month Jane walked a total distance of 36 miles. Okay, uh, if this distance is 90% of the distance she walked last month, they want to know how much distance did Jane walk last month. Okay, so this is a typical word problem. Okay, and the whole idea of word problems is you want to uh, translate these verbal word problems into a mathematical equation, right? And then solve for what they're asking for. So let's go to the whiteboard and work on this one. Okay, so the question states, okay, as we said it before, let's break it down now. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the question. First of all, we have to have a procedure for what we're going to do. We're not just going to look at a word problem and hope that it comes to us in our minds, right? So if you look here to the right, the procedure is such. We set up an equation that can be solved for what is being asked, right? So we're looking at the word problem. How do we do that? Well, first, we let x represent the unknown amount. So we look at the word problem looking for the unknown amount, right? If you read the question, the unknown is usually what they're asking for. It says, how much distance did Jane walk last month? So we're gonna usually they use X, right? So we're gonna let X equal the distance that Jane walked last month when we're setting up our equation. That's what we're gonna use for that quantity because we don't know what it is yet, right? And then we go back and read the question. So we're looking, um, so what's going on with this distance that Jane walked last month? Well, it says this month Jane walked 36 miles. And then it says if this distance is 90% of the distance walked last month. Okay. So you should know that when you're converting from word problems to math problems, there are certain words, English words, that translate directly into math functions or math operations, right? So let's just set up what we've done so far. So we're going to let the distance she walked last month, we agreed that that's going to be X, right? And here it says 90% of, right? So 90% of is typically translated into math as multiplication. Okay. So what they're saying, if the distance is 90% times X, which is represented distance you walked. Okay. What distance are they talking about? They said this month Jane walked 36 miles, right? This distance, that's 36 miles, is right 90% of the distance was. So 90% times X. So now we have is. Is always translates to equals. Okay. So we have 36 miles. We're going to write that down. Equals, okay, 90% times X. 90%, see here, times X. And that is our equation. So we followed the steps. We let X represent the unknown amount, which was the distance walked last month. We have that X here, right? And then we translated the word problem into an equation, noting that is translates to equals. And when they say 90% of something or 10% of something, that's of represents multiplication, right? And we let X equal the unknown amount. So it's 90% times X equals 36 miles. That's our equation that we have to solve. Okay. So now that we have that, we can go in and do the third step, which is solve for X, right? Now we have to note, we cannot do any arithmetic with the percent sign. So we always have to convert that percent to either a decimal or a fraction, right? In this case, I think it'd be best to, since we're going to be using a calculator to convert it to a decimal. How we do that? Very simple. We go, if we don't, if there's a decimal point there, we simply go to the decimal point, you move it two places, I'm sorry, you drop the percent sign and you move the decimal point two places to the left. If no decimal point is shown, all right, By default, it's on to the right of the last digit, the digit on the right. So the last digit on the right here is 0. So it's on the right of that. We're going to move that. We're going to drop the percent sign and then move that decimal point 2 places to the left. So we get 0.9 times x equals 36 miles. All right. Now we have something we can do arithmetic with. We remember we cannot do any arithmetic with a percent. We always have to convert it to either a decimal like we did here or a fraction. Now we have an equation and we just follow the rules for solving equations for a variable. What are those rules? We want to get the variable is the letter, by itself on one side of the equal sign and everything else on the other side. Right. And the way we do that is we look at the variable side of the equal sign and we we note what math operation is happening to it and we do the exact opposite math operation. That's how we get the variable by itself. So here it's 0.9 times x. So the opposite of multiplication or times is division. So it's going to simply divide 0.9, divide this 0.9 times x by 0.9. We multiply by 0.9, we're going to divide. Okay, whatever operation we're doing to our variable, we're going to do the opposite operation. Now, this is an equation, it's equal. So we have to always remember that this equal sign acts as like a pivot to a scale if you look up here in the upper left, right? Meaning whatever math operation we do on one side of the equal sign, we have to do an identical math operation on the other side to keep it balanced. So here we divided by 0.9 on one side of the equal sign. We must do the same math operation and divide by 0.9 on the other. Okay, so 0.9 of x divided by 0.9, this cancels out to 1 and 1. We just end up with x equals, and then we work out the arithmetic on the right side. 36 divided by zero point 0.9 gives us 40 miles. And that's our answer, right? So let's go to the answer list and see if we can find it. And there it goes, right? 40 miles. So 40 miles is the answer. Okay, so I hope this clarified things for you, and I'll see you on the next problem. Take care. Have a great day.